let us begin with the truth. Wealth is not an accident. It is not luck. It is not genetics. Wealth is the result of a mindset. And this mindset is built every morning before the sun rises. Most people lose the morning. They wake up, reach for the phone, and begin reacting to the world. News, notifications, messages. And before the day even starts, their minds have become prisoners to other people's agendas. But the wealthy man is different. He owns the morning. He controls the first hour because he knows that how the morning begins determines how the day ends. And how the day ends shapes how life unfolds. I tell you this, if you cannot control your morning, you cannot control your life. If you surrender the first hour of the day to others, you surrender everything else. But if you own the morning, you own the power. You own the clarity. You own the future. Now, I will tell you about the millionaire's morning. This is not just a routine. This is a ritual, a sacred ritual, because this ritual builds the mind that attracts wealth. This ritual creates the discipline that forces success. This ritual transforms the average person into the extraordinary person. And this ritual consists of 6 stages. Each stage adds a layer to your mental power. Each stage moves you one step closer to wealth. Because wealth is not earned out there. Wealth is built in here. Every morning, every day, with every choice. The first stage, silence. The wealthy man does not wake up to noise. He does not jump out of bed to an alarm. He does not panic. He wakes up calmly, takes a deep breath, and sits in silence. Most people fear silence. They constantly need noise, music, TV, phone, conversation, because silence forces them to face their own thoughts. And facing their own thoughts is painful. But the wealthy man embraces silence because he knows that silence brings power. In silence, the mind clears. Yesterday fades away. Stress dissolves. Fear diminishes. And clarity comes. Silence is the foundation stone of the morning. If you immediately dive into noise, your mind never rests, never renews, never strengthens. I suggest to you every morning, sit in silence for at least 5 minutes. Close your eyes, just breathe. Thoughts will come and go. Watch them. Don't judge them. Just be. These 5 minutes give you the calmness that will carry you throughout the day. The wealthy man knows that the external world is chaotic. But if the internal world is calm, chaos cannot harm. That is why he begins every morning with silence. Because silence means control, and control means power. The second stage, gratitude. The wealthy man does not wake up with lack. He wakes up with abundance. Because he knows that what you focus on expands. If you focus on what's missing, more lack comes. But if you wake up with abundance, abundance multiplies. Most people wake up with stress. They think about their debts. They think about their problems. They think about what they don't have. And these thoughts follow them throughout the day because the mind magnifies whatever you give energy to. But the wealthy man is different. He wakes up with gratitude. Every morning, he gives thanks for waking up, for being able to breathe, for his health, for his family, for his opportunities. Even if they are small things, he gives thanks because he knows that the frequency of gratitude is the most powerful frequency. Gratitude removes you from victimhood. It makes you a creator because now you are not looking at what's missing. You are looking at what exists, and this perspective changes everything. I suggest to you every morning write down 5 things. 5 things you are grateful for. They can be simple. The sun rose. I have coffee. My loved ones are healthy. Whatever it is, Write it, because this practice tunes your mind to the frequency of abundance. And the frequency of abundance attracts wealth. The wealthy man is never a victim. He never complains, because he knows that complaint brings weakness. But gratitude brings power. That is why every morning he gives thanks. And the universe sends him more things to be grateful for. The third stage, visualization. The wealthy man lives in the future, in his mind, every morning. He sees the life he wants, feels it, experiences it, before it has even happened. Most people live in the past. They think about what happened yesterday. They replay their mistakes. They carry their regrets. Or they focus on current problems. No money, difficult job, complicated relationship. And this focus keeps them in the same place. But the wealthy man focuses on the future that has not yet happened. Visualization is not daydreaming. Visualization is creation, because the mind cannot tell the difference between reality and imagination. If you see something clearly enough in your mind accepts it as real. And when it accepts it as real, your behaviors change. Your energy changes. Your frequency changes. Every morning, the wealthy man closes his eyes and sees. He sees the money in the bank. He sees the house he wants. He sees his freedom. He sees his peace. And he doesn't just see, he feels. He feels the joy. He feels the pride. He feels the peace. Because emotion is the key to creation. I suggest to you, every morning, visualize for 510 minutes. Create the life you want in your mind. Be detailed. Colors, sounds, smells. The clearer it is, the more powerful. And do this practice every day, because every visualization moves you one step closer to reality. The wealthy man never doubts. He believes before he sees, because he knows that faith comes before sight. That is why every morning he feeds his vision, strengthens it, and over time that vision becomes reality. The fourth stage, affirmation. The wealthy man speaks to himself every morning, out loud, with powerful words, because he knows that words create. Most people speak wrongly to themselves. I can't. It's hard. I'm inadequate. I'm unlucky. And these words become identity, because the subconscious mind accepts everything repeated as truth. But the wealthy man uses powerful words. I can. I am worthy. I am strong. I am creative. Affirmation is not nonsense. Affirmation is mind programming. Every word you speak plants a seed in the subconscious. And over time, those seeds grow. They become behavior. They become results. Every morning, the wealthy man looks in the mirror and says, I am successful. I am valuable. I am getting stronger every day. Money comes to me easily. Opportunities find me. I am a man living his dreams. And he repeats these words, feeling them, believing them. I suggest to you, write 510 affirmations, personal affirmations for yourself. And every morning, read them out loud, looking in the mirror, chest out, believing, because this practice changes your identity. And when identity changes, life changes. The wealthy man never thinks small. He never limits himself, because he knows that limits exist only in the mind. That is why every morning he breaks those limits with words, with affirmations. And over time, he becomes limitless. The fifth stage, movement. The wealthy man does not remain motionless. He awakens his body, because if the body moves, energy flows. And if energy flows, the mind clarifies. Most people are lazy in the morning. They struggle to get out of bed. They move heavily. They are half asleep until they drink coffee. But the wealthy man elevates his morning energy because energy means money. Energy means opportunity. Energy means creation. Movement is not just exercise. Movement is energy management. When you move your body, blood pumps, oxygen increases, endorphins are released, and mood elevates. This is simple biology, but most people ignore it. Every morning, the wealthy man moves. Maybe 10 minutes of yoga, maybe 20 minutes of running, maybe just stretching exercises. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the body is activated, because an active body means an active mind. I suggest to you, move for at least 10 minutes in the morning. It doesn't need to be intense. Even a simple walk is enough. But do it, because this gives you the energy that will carry you throughout the day. And energy is the foundation of wealth. The wealthy man is never stagnant. He is constantly in motion, mentally, emotionally, physically, because he knows that stagnation means decay, but movement means growth. That is why every morning he moves, and movement gives him life. The sixth stage, planning. The wealthy man does not live randomly. He designs. Every morning, he plans the day, because without a plan, the day manages you. But with a plan, you manage the day. Most people make plans. They make to-do lists. But this is not enough, because they focus on the urgent, not the important, phone calls, emails, meetings, and by the end of the day, nothing important has been done. But the wealthy man is different. He focuses on the important. Every morning, the wealthy man asks, what 3 things today will move me closest to my goal? Only 3 things. Because focus means power. If you try to do 20 things, you cannot do any of them well. But if you focus on 3 things, those 3 things become perfect. And he does these 3 things. First, when energy is highest, when attention is sharpest, in the first hours of the morning, because morning is the peak of productivity. In the afternoon, fatigue comes. Distractions increase. But in the morning, everything is possible. I suggest to you every morning determine 3 priorities, only 3, and focus on completing these 3 today. Everything else is secondary, because these 3 things build your future. Small, repeated actions create big results. The wealthy man never leaves the day to chance. He controls, he directs, he designs, because he knows that disciplined days create a free life. That is why every morning he plans, and every plan moves him 1 step closer to wealth. Now let me tell you the truth. These 6 stages are too much for most people. They say, I don't have time in the morning. I can't do this. This isn't for me. But this is exactly why they remain ordinary. Because mediocrity comes from choosing what's easy. But wealth comes from choosing discipline. If you do this ritual every morning, your life will change. Guaranteed. The first week, it will be difficult. The second week, you will get used to it. The third week, you will become addicted, because you will start seeing results. Your mind is clearer. Your energy is higher. Your focus is sharper. And money, opportunities, success come more easily, because you are no longer living accidentally. You are living by design. You are no longer reactive. You are purposeful. You are no longer a victim. You are a creator. And the man who creates always becomes wealthy. But you must understand this. The morning ritual is not a luxury. It is a necessity. If you lose your morning, you lose your day. If you lose your day, you lose your week. If you lose your week, you lose your year. And if you lose your year, you lose your life. But if you win your morning, you win everything. Because morning creates momentum. And momentum is everything. Once momentum starts, life becomes easier. Doors open, people come, opportunities appear, because you are now on the right frequency. Now let me explain each stage more deeply, because this ritual is not just actions. This ritual is a mental transformation. Each stage adds a layer to your power, and when all layers combine, you become invincible. The deep power of silence. Silence is not just being quiet. Silence is listening, but not to external sounds, to the inner voice, listening to the infinite intelligence within you, listening to the creative power within you, because that power always speaks. But most people do not listen. The world is too noisy. Everyone says something. You should do, you should be, you should go. And this noise distances you from your own voice. But in silence, the noise disappears, and your own voice is heard clearly. This voice guides you. It tells you what you need to do. It shows you which path to choose. But you can only hear it in silence. That is why the wealthy man protects silence, because he knows that the best decisions come from silence. When you sit in silence in the morning, something happens. You release stress. You release control. You just are. And this being renews you, strengthens you, because being is the source of power. Not doing, being. Most people constantly do, constantly run, constantly move, but never stop, never rest, and eventually they burn out, because energy needs renewal, and renewal comes from silence. The magnetic power of gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful magnet, because the universe responds to gratitude. How? Because when you are grateful, you tune into the frequency of abundance, and the frequency of abundance attracts abundance. But most people are on the frequency of lack. They see what's missing. They see what they lost. And this focus creates more lack, because what you focus on grows. This is universal law. The wealthy man sees abundance everywhere. The sun rose in the morning. Abundance. I can breathe. Abundance. I have opportunities. Abundance. And this focus attracts more abundance, because the universe is like a mirror. Whatever you reflect, it returns to you. Gratitude also neutralizes ego, because ego always wants more. It is never enough. But gratitude says, enough. Right now is enough. And this sufficiency brings peace. And peace is the greatest wealth. When you are grateful in the morning, the tone of your day changes. You no longer complain. You no longer play victim. You are no longer stressed, because gratitude makes you powerful, makes you creative. And the man who creates always becomes wealthy. The creative power of visualization. Visualization is the most powerful creation tool, because everything begins in your mind. Nothing is created without first being seen. House, car, company, relationship. Everything begins with a vision in someone's mind, and that vision becomes reality. But most people visualize the wrong things. They visualize their fears. They visualize their failures. What if it doesn't work? What if I lose? And these visualizations become real, because the mind creates whatever you give energy to. The wealthy man visualizes the life he wants, detailed, clear, as if it is real. He sits in his house. He drives his car. He lives his freedom in his mind every morning. And the subconscious accepts this as real. And when it accepts it as real, behaviors change. Opportunities are seen. Steps are taken. Visualization is not just imagining. Visualization is emotional experience. You don't just see, you feel. You feel the joy. You feel the pride. You feel the peace. And these emotions elevate your frequency. And high frequency attracts high results. When you visualize in the morning, your mind prepares. Throughout the day, you see things aligned with that vision. Opportunities, people, ideas. Because the mind searches for what you focus on. And what is found becomes reality. Identity shift with affirmation. Affirmation is an identity shift tool. Because identity is formed from repeated words. Whatever you tell yourself, you become. I am weak. You become that. I am strong. You become that. Words create identity. Most people speak destructive words to themselves. They are not even aware. It won't work for me. I'm unlucky. I'm inadequate. And these words are buried in the subconscious. And the subconscious accepts them as truth. And behaviors are shaped according to these beliefs. But the wealthy man speaks powerful words to himself. I am worthy. I can do this. I am getting stronger every day. And these words create a new identity, a powerful identity, a wealthy identity. And this identity creates wealthy behaviors. Affirmation must not be without belief. When you speak, you must believe. You must feel. Because without emotion, words are empty. But when combined with emotion, words are power. Creative power. When you speak your affirmations in the morning, you program your identity. Every day, one more layer. And over time, the old identity dies. The new identity is born. And this new identity creates a wealthy life. Energy elevation with movement. Movement is the foundation of energy management because energy is like money. If you don't manage it, it disappears. But if you manage it, it multiplies. And the first step in managing energy is moving your body. When the body moves, energy flows. Blood pumps. Oxygen increases. Hormones are released. And mood elevates. This is a biological fact. But most people ignore it. They remain motionless and energy drops. And with low energy, nothing can be accomplished. The wealthy man manages his energy. Every morning, he activates his body. Maybe he runs. Maybe he does yoga. Maybe he just does stretching movements. It doesn't matter. What matters is starting the energy flow. Because energy flow is creation flow. When energy is high, everything is easy. Focusing is easy. Deciding is easy. Taking action is easy. But when energy is low, everything is hard. Moving is hard. Thinking is hard. Creating is hard. That is why elevate energy. Every morning, when you move in the morning, that energy carries you throughout the day. When challenges come, you have resistance. When opportunities come, you are ready. Because energy is the foundation of everything. Without energy, there is nothing. Direction with planning. Planning is direction. If you don't plan, life directs you. But if you plan, you direct life. It's that simple. And the wealthy man always directs, never is directed. Most people live reactively. They react to whatever comes. Phone rings, they answer. Email comes, they read. Someone wants something, they do it. And by the end of the day, they have not spent any time on their own goals because they have spent their time on other people's urgent matters. But the wealthy man is proactive. He plans in the morning. He knows what he will do. He knows when he will do it. He knows why he will do it. And the plan gives him focus, because without focus, energy is wasted. Planning is also prioritization. You cannot do everything. You should not. You should only do the most important things. And the most important things are the things that move you closest to your goal. That is why every morning ask, What three things today will move me closest to my goal? And do those three things first. In the morning, when energy is high, when attention is sharp, because morning is production time. In the afternoon, fatigue comes. Distractions multiply. But morning is pure production. When you plan and prioritize in the morning, the day is under control. You are no longer living randomly. You are living by design. And designed living is wealthy living. Now let me give you a secret. These 6 stages are not just for the morning. This is a life philosophy. Silence, gratitude, visualization, affirmation, movement, planning. These are the pillars of the wealthy mindset. And every morning, you are recharging these pillars. But most people do not charge their pillars. They live tired. They live stressed. They live reactively. And then they wonder, why can't I succeed? Because the foundation is weak. Because the morning is chaotic. Because the energy is scattered. But you can be different. You can apply this ritual every day, without exception. The first week, it will be hard. The habit has not yet formed. But the second week, it becomes easier. The third week, you become addicted. Because you have seen the results, your mind becomes clearer. Your day flows more smoothly. Problems appear smaller. Opportunities appear clearer. Because you are now on a high frequency. And high frequency attracts high results. Now let me tell you the final truth. Being a millionaire is not just accumulating money. Being a millionaire is a mindset. This mindset begins in the morning, every day. If you own your morning, you own your day. If you own your day, you own your week. If you own your week, you own your month. If you own your month, you own your year. And if you own your year, you own your life. And the man who owns his life is already wealthy. Maybe he doesn't have millions yet, but he has the millionaire mindset. And mindset always creates money, always attracts opportunities, always brings success. That is why I tell you one last time, tomorrow morning, wake up differently. Don't reach for the phone. Sit in silence. Give thanks. Visualize. Affirm. Move. Plan. And observe how your life changes. This ritual is not magic. This is science. Mind science. Energy science. Success science. And this science works. Always. Everywhere. For everyone. All you need to do is start. Tomorrow morning, the first step. And every morning, one more step. And days turn into weeks. Weeks into months. Months into years. And years later, you look back. And you see that morning ritual changed everything. Because the millionaire's morning creates the millionaire's life. And you are building that life every morning. One ritual. One choice, one step, every single time. Now go. Tomorrow morning, wake up early and start building the millionaire's morning, the millionaire's mindset, the millionaire's life, because you are worthy. You are powerful. You are ready. Now just start. Tomorrow morning, first step, and never stop.